What do you think, Chloe? Was that good? You're still looking at the other dogs. Just went for my first run walk, later than anticipated. Really should have started it probably a week and a half ago, but because I was on the stimulation meds and I was very full, as we know from the follicle count, it just wasn't a great idea. So yeah, it was pretty good. We'll see how I pull up this afternoon to see if I've got any aches and pains in my shin or knee. My shin has been a little bit achy for a little while, but anyway, it's all good. You ready to go home? Yeah? Okay, you're dripping all over me. Hey friends, I thought I would check in. It's really windy here today, and last night actually. Anyway, so sorry if you hear a bit of that in the background. It is Tuesday today. We had our egg retrieval on Friday, which you saw last video. I pulled up feeling all right. Even today, I'm feeling pretty good physically. I'll go over the numbers with you, and then I guess I'll let you know how I've been doing and processing. So day 0 was the egg retrieval. You probably already know we got 23 eggs. So from that, feeling super hopeful. For some reason, I can't even put my finger on it. I had the number 14 in my head for mature. So the next day, which is day 1, they said, yes, we have 14 mature follicles or 14 mature eggs out of the 23, but only 5 of them fertilized, which I think is almost the lowest fertilization rate we've had. Maybe the very first round, our fertilization rate was just as low and didn't have any make it to day 5. So that automatically kind of concerned me, but we're like, okay, 5 and often 8 mature follicles from a cycle is what I've been told previously, fairly common. So then we got the call on day 2. So the embryologist called us to kind of let us know how things are progressing, and was going to talk to my doctor to confirm what in fact we were going to do moving forward. So we had 1 extra embryo kind of ended up fertilizing. So she explained we had 2 at 2 cells, so quite slow, that had in fact fertilized. We had 2 at 3 cells and 2 at 4 cells, and day 2 embryos are kind of anywhere between 2 and 6 cells is kind of the earmark that I was told they were kind of looking for. But they already noticed that in one of the 2 cell and one of the 3 cell embryos that they were starting to fracture. And so fracturing had been a issue with us previously. So only 2 out of the 6 I actually thought was pretty good. So then it was confirmed that any embryos that looked good or met the parameters to freeze at day 3, and they were looking at, my understanding was 6 to 8 up to 12 cells. It was, and a good, grouping was what they were looking for to freeze. So realistically, I thought maybe the 2 maybe the 2 4 cells and maybe one of the 3 cells would, you know, thing, and the rest would kind of peter off. So then day 3, we got the phone call, which was yesterday. And the phone call didn't come till later in the afternoon, about 2:30. I had the nurse call me before that to see, and the day before, to see how I'm feeling post-op, especially because all of my OHSS issues before, and that the fact that I had 23 eggs, that I was even more higher risk. I was a very bad girl. I did forget, not last night, but the night before, about taking my med, because I needed to take a tablet each night for 8 nights to help bring my estrogen down. So I forgot to take that one. It just means that I'm gonna have to continue to take it the extra day. But yeah, so just checked in, that was all good. Actually, I've kept a really close eye on my weight this time too. I have in total, from the beginning of the process to now, gained 2 kilos, but it hasn't creeped up more. I'm still bloated, and I haven't really been able to go to the bathroom properly since surgery. So going to be taking some extra fiber and stuff to get that happening, and hopefully that will bring down some of the bloating and that stuff as well. Going back to the phone call. So later in the afternoon, we got the call and we had 1 embryo make it to freeze. To say I was disappointed is kind of an understatement. It kind of took a while for it to brew in. But yeah, so we were told, and I was like, oh, 1. And I put it on speakerphone. Chad was there, and so they said, but that one looked good, that the cells were doing what they were supposed to. It was an 8 cell, which is kind of average. Like they said, it could have gone up to 12. So it wasn't necessarily behind, it was within normal range, but they said it looked good, so hopefully that's a good sign. But 1 out of 23. And I know, like, in natural pregnancies, minus twins and other stuff, like, that's all it takes, is just 1. But after all of that, after all the treatment, after everything, after changing clinics, after weight loss surgery, after losing like almost 30 kilos, after knee surgery, after everything, it just felt like a bit of a, bit of a letdown. So last night was pretty rough, and it was, I just was sad, and there was definitely tension there between Chad and I for a bit too, because I don't think he understood why I was sad, and I just said I was sad, and then he thought I was holding out on him, which we talked it through. That obviously wasn't the case. I was just sad and disappointed, and he kind of felt like I gave up. So obviously that's not the case. But I think a big thing I've been working on within myself has been allowing myself to feel, I guess, feel the range of emotions, because I am a glass half full kind of person. I like to look on the brighter side of things and stay positive and stay uplifted, but that was like hard news to swallow. So I let myself feel excited and hopeful before, and so I had to remind myself it was okay to let myself feel sad and disappointed as well, and know that that feeling probably wouldn't stick around a long time, because we now have like at least a month wait before we even transfer. And of course, the other part to this, and part of the reason I was feeling sad and disappointed, is there's no guarantee it will make it through the thawing process. So after all of that, we might not end up with any embryos. The other thing obviously is we've had issues with implantation. Now they are doing things to help that. Obviously, I won't be battling the OHSS stuff, so that makes a difference. And of course, almost pre-anticipating the loss. And it's kind of a protection mechanism that is what has got me through, right? So there's been that thing I've been grappling with this whole cycle of trying to stay positive and excited about the next steps and the possibilities, and allowing myself to dream again about possibly what our family looks like, but also then having that tug of like, oh, but don't let yourself get too hopeful because it's all not worked out before. So I'm sure anyone else who's done this infertility journey, or even other life's disappointments, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a status, a job, a physical healing, or whatever. It could be anything, right? But I think most of us have something in our lives that we've really had to balance our feelings with. And yeah, so it's hard for me to kind of be vulnerable in the fact that no, I'm not always like happy and just looking to the bright side of things. Like there's definitely that pragmatic, practical part of me, and especially the planning thing. My strength and sometimes my weakness is that I'm a big picture and details person. So this news of one embryo, we got an embryo. We got a healthy looking embryo to freeze at day 3. But then I'm like, you've had issues with embryos making it to day 5 and later expanded blastocyst stage. I've had issues with implantation. So it's probably not going to work. So are we looking at another round of IVF? I have to do this all again. What if we have to do this whole, not just stims and retrieval and all of that, but then have to freeze again and go through an extra month waiting process? And I've tried my best to plan and give myself as much space to be able to feel my emotions, because I've had issues with allowing myself to process grief. To not be doing the 2-week wait after transfer in the middle of school, and now that's going to be an issue. And of course then beyond that, because Chad and I had discussed like we would be willing to give this clinic 2 rounds. So then if that doesn't work, so this is the big picture and the steps to get there kind of thing, is that then if that doesn't work, you know, really having to look at what the rest of life without kids looks like. And I'm not ready, I'm not there yet. So, for now, I had to realize, firstly, I missed a day of meds, estrogen's still super high. So extra hormonal. And of course, I'm feeling all these things, and that's completely normal anyway. Second of all, since having surgery minus going to church Sunday morning, so the day before. So this was the day before we got day 2 news. So other than going to church in the morning, since Friday of surgery, so Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday, all day Monday, haven't really left the house. For me, not a good thing. So really struggled with that. I also, because of this round, some of my rehab for my knee and being physical had to stop, because being so puts a lot of pressure on your body. you know, I know I've said this before, but if you're new, like my ovary, your ovaries go from the size of like the tip of your thumb or an almond to a small bunch of grapes either side. And I had like multiple follicles either side. So, you know, it's a lot physically on your body. And so I wasn't working out. I wasn't doing my squats or anything like that. I wasn't doing my rehab. So I wasn't feeling good. So hormones are high, hadn't left the house, physically wasn't being active, and then deal with that unexpected. And I won't say it's bad news because we have one healthy, good-looking embryo to freeze, but certainly not from 23 eggs was the news we were expecting. So dashed expectations, I guess. So yeah, it had been rough, and so today I wanted to do all the things to make me feel right. So first thing I did when I woke up this morning was read a devotional. I haven't been journaling. I really need to get back to journaling. I go through periods where I journal and I don't, and I just find, especially during big events in our life, journaling is really helpful for me to sort through my process, and also get out the feelings and not let them bottle up. So I think I might go back to that this afternoon. So, but I did a devotional, I put upbeat music on and made myself work out. Physically, I'm not feeling too bloated. I am a little bit, but you know, just did what was good. Physio-wise, I was supposed to start running. It is now the 1st of February. So technically, I should have started this at least yesterday, within January. But I ran today and that felt pretty good. Not too sore. And yeah, so I'm feeling in a much better headspace and trying to connect how I'm feeling and then doing things to help me feel better as best as I can while allowing myself to feel and process. So, guys, I know this has been a bit of a longer vlog, but I just wanted you guys to know that if you're doing this journey, like, it is hard and it's okay to feel apprehensive or upset or excited, hopeful. Like, all of the feelings are okay. It's also okay to not really know how you feel about it. But I would just say give yourself space to be able to start wading through that. And if not now, make sure you make space and time later to process it, you know, to process what you're going through, because it will catch up. And I think a big part of my therapy that I started just after halfway, like last quarter of last year, was I didn't realize how much grief was still really prevalent and like just barely scratched the surface and it was right there. So like, it does all catch up, and it's not that I didn't allow myself to feel or process grief. It's just a process. It's just a longer process. And because I don't like being down or staying in that down space because of my personality, I could really dwell there, and I don't like doing that. Yeah, so it's that balancing act, which I don't really love that term because balancing is almost impossible, but like, there's seasons for stuff, and so allowing myself the time now to, you know, go through everything that we're going through. So of course it puts tension on relationships, and yeah, it was hard last night, feeling like Chad didn't understand why I was feeling or might be feeling the way I was, but also like, he needs to be able to feel his stuff too, and so trying to allow that space And once we were able to start talking about it and unpacking it, like we got some, not conclusion because the whole process isn't concluded yet, but we just felt more connected, I think, and being able to make sure that we both have a space to do that. Okay. Anyway, I love you guys. I'm praying for you. Please, if you want prayer or have questions or want to pray for us, like I'd love to hear that. Make sure you check it in the comments. Subscribe so you know when videos are coming out. This next month is going to be interesting in the way to get ready to do this transfer. Right. Till next time, guys. I love you. Bye.